Well, here we go. I'm starting to get a little bit more lazy while doing numerous mail episodes. I was on a roll for like 2 weeks in a row in doing these numerous mail episodes, but now I'm just getting lazy. But anyway, here we go. SmackDown Week 16. We're going to slow things down a little bit here, as this is going to be the last, SmackDown episode before the King Ring Tournament. And next week's main event, not this episode, but next week's main event, it shall be Dolph Ziggler going 1-1 against John Cena. We shall see if Ziggler could gain some more momentum, as he does still have his rematch clause against World Heavyweight Champion Aleister Black. And Cena, he did lose to Cruiserweight Champion Seth Rollins last week. Let's see what happens next week if he can defeat Dolph Ziggler. Well, Bound for Glory SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view rematch. Jack Swagger has officially cashed in his United States Championship rematch clause, and so if he is to lose to Austin Aries, then Aries, he's still United States Champion, and Swagger loses his rematch clause. Now, that's to say, ladies and gentlemen, as we now need to hear from your new SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Alexa Bliss first ever SmackDown Women's Champion. The crowd not too happy about that, as Alexa now bringing up Mickie James. She did pin her in that triple threat against Carmella as well, calling her a lackluster opponent as well. And Alexa disrespecting the fans, calling them wrestling smarks, although that is true sometimes. Most likely. As Alexa Bliss. At the end of the day, Alexa will stay the SmackDown Women's Champion in her own mind and from her own words, she says. But now let's say, moving on. Number one contenders for the SmackDown Women's Championship 6-woman 6-pack challenge. Alexa Bliss called Carmella lackluster. Shall see on how Carmella takes that. She did do absolutely amazing in the women's showcase battle royal in the first ever women's match of SmackDown. She actually did win the thing as well. And the final three was herself, Mickie James, and Alexa Bliss. And they survived for a very long time when they were the final three. Carmella ultimately won by eliminating both Mickie and Alexa, which is why the triple threat for SmackDown Women's Championship happened last week. And, it was Alexa Bliss who pinned Mickie James in that matchup. And so Carmella and Mickie James are still the closest to challenging for a title, but we shall see which one of these 6 women wins here tonight. AJ Lee, Naomi, Sasha Banks, Mickie James, Carmella, or Charlotte here tonight. As the SmackDown division definitely has the best women's division out of Raw and out of ECW. ECW over with, Nia Jax, Asuka, Leah, Paige, Sonya Deville, and Velvet Sky. That's not all that great, but hey, it's something. And over on Raw, they have Chyna, Nikki Bella, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, and Awesome Kong. And so not that much women here in humorous mode, but it's a start. 6 on Raw, 6 on ECW, only 7 on SmackDown, so we definitely do have the advantage here as we get Sasha and Mickie testing it out for a quick second. Charlotte and Naomi were battling on the inside of the ring, and now AJ Lee not AJ Lee, but Carmella jumps off the top rope, and Charlotte takes down Naomi into the pin. 1, 2, and a very close 2 count. Charlotte still close to face down against Alexa Bliss for that SmackDown Women's Championship. At this point, you definitely got to crown Mickie James and Carmella worthy of winning of challenging for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Definitely got to think about that, especially since they are the closest. And they did lose the triple threat. Mickie James did get pinned, but she has something to improve here. And Carmella, she's, to be fair, perhaps the most impressive of all the other women. She did win the battle royal to showcase the SmackDown women's talent, but then she ended up losing in the triple threat, but she didn't get pinned by Alexa Bliss. So now, if Carmella does not win this, then you definitely got to think she definitely does get another opportunity around the corner. See where they're taking down Naomi, and Charlotte and AJ Lee had their own little separate thing going on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here on SmackDown Week 16, sadly, your World Heavyweight Champion, Aleister Black, he is not going to be showcased here tonight. He's been given the whole day off for this episode of SmackDown, along with Mr. Money in the Bank, Jay Lethal. He's also been given the night off, but he shall appear next week here on SmackDown, and he shall have his first ever matchup, no, his second ever matchup, ever since becoming Mr. Money in the Bank. Only on SmackDown specifically. And while the King of the Ring tournament shall happen once we finish every episode of Week 16 on Universe Mode, we still got to do the highlights of both Superstars, the new main event show, because why not, and also second ever episode of NXT, the 8th ever episode of Superstars, first ever episode of main event. Of course, Superstars main event, they're both going to be joint branded. Superstars going to be having some random matches. We're going to have Raw versus SmackDown, SmackDown versus ECW, ECW versus Raw over on Superstars now. And we changed the Superstars format, the old one, to the now main event format. But we are going to have Raw action, SmackDown action, and ECW action. One of them being women's action, the other one being tag team action, and the other one being either mid-card or main event action going on as well. And it'll be randomly picked for which brand also gets the main event on the main event show as well. ECW, they are scheduled to have the main event of the main event show in the first episode of main event when the time is to come after Superstars. We also need to do NXT highlights where we have crowned all 4 of our champions as well. And now Naomi struggling to get back up to her feet. Charlotte, she's dazed. Sasha Banks side of the ring. Carmella trying to figure something out here. And now double team suplex by both Charlotte and Naomi to Sasha. Sasha falling back side of the ring. And now trying to get back on the outside. This contest has been mostly on the outside of the ring. We definitely have the best 7 women here in all of Universe Mode. AJ Lee, Mickie James, Carmella, Charlotte, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Alexa Bliss. All of which definitely better than what Raw and ECW have. But then again, Raw, they do have some good ones, including Becky Lynch and Bayley. Perhaps even Nikki Bella. ECW over with Asuka and Nia Jax and Lita. And I see right there, Naomi picks up the victory against Charlotte. Of all people, she does pin Charlotte. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess Naomi is number 1 contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship that Alexa Bliss holds. Naomi will now challenge Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's Championship at perhaps the SummerSlam pay-per-view. Well, at least that's what it's looking like for now. Of course, we shall see the King of the Ring tournament and who shall actually win it. And ladies and gentlemen, from left to right, we shall announce the random selections for Raw, ECW, and SmackDown. These have already been confirmed since the past few weeks, but from left to right, Raw has Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, Silas Young, and The Miz. Those were their random 4 selected like 2 weeks ago. The random 4 selected 2 weeks ago for ECW are Chris Jericho, Raven, Finn Balor, and Baron Corbin. And the random 4 selected about 2 weeks ago, a week ago, for the SmackDown roster over here have been Kazuchika Okada, Samoa Joe, Cesaro, and Eddie Guerrero. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a 12-man tournament. 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown, 4 from ECW. All of which will be in promotional matches between SmackDown versus ECW, SmackDown versus Raw, and Raw versus ECW as well. And in the finals, it's going to be a triple threat where it could be 2 members of a certain brand versus 1 from other brand, or if we get a nice organizable order of wins and losses for each brand, then it shall be Raw versus ECW versus SmackDown in a triple threat. But if we were to get, for example, 2 from Raw versus 1 from SmackDown, then that'll make it more predictable of what the main event of SummerSlam will be, especially if we see Superstars. But yeah, that's just an example. The CPU is going to simulate. Well, it's going to play all the matches in the tournament, so it could be unpredictable, because usually I'll have things planned ahead. I only really let the CPU mostly do some women's matches and all of the tag team matches, and then I usually play and I sometimes let the CPU do triple threats and fatal 4-ways. And I sometimes do the triple threats and fatal 4-ways if I want to, if I'm not too lazy. But for the most part, I always control the one-on-one matches. And CPU did not do this matchup. Let's see right there. Michaels just catching Nick Jackson in midair. DX, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, of course, your SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They won it back in Week 6 at the No Surrender pay-per-view when they defeated Heath Slater and Rhino for the vacant SmackDown Tag Team Championships back in the No Surrender SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. And previously, at the Bound for Glory SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, they did defeat Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows of the Club. And so, Young Bucks seen if they could fare off better than their fellow Bullet Club tag teammates. Of course, number 1 contenders are the New Day, as they did defeat the Young Bucks at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. So they shall face off against DX next for the SmackDown Tag Titles. But you gotta think, if the Young Bucks are to defeat DX here tonight, it is not a title contest as well. Then gotta think, if the Young Bucks, if they actually win the number one contenders matchup, will have been interesting, and if they could perhaps be better than New Day, facing off against DX in these big time situations. But this is non-title contest, non-title action, of course. And ladies and gentlemen, up next, another tag team matchup. This is going to be the 4 in the King of the Ring tournament on the SmackDown side, as we're going to have Cesaro and Kazuchika Okada team up versus Samoa Joe and Eddie Guerrero. At this point, the only heel in the tournament for SmackDown is Samoa Joe, but we're just going to make Eddie Guerrero join him because that will actually be an interesting alliance, I guess. So yeah, it's going to be Guerrero and Joe versus Okada and Cesaro, and that is up next as well. And also up next after that matchup, Cruiserweight Championship number 1 contenders action, as we're going to have 6 of the SmackDown Cruiserweights here in the SmackDown roster. Battle chart and a pinfall and submission battle royal. You can only win by pin your opponent, submitting them like a regular 1-on-1 or 6-pack contest, like what happened earlier in the women's matchup, but also in a battle royal as well, which could make it a little bit more interesting to see if people are going to try to go for the eliminations or the submission or pinfall victories as well. So that should be interesting, as Triple H, he's now the legal man here against Matt Jackson, going after Nick though. And so Matt now tagging in Nick, and now this is the preferred matchup for Triple H, I guess. And Nick trying to pick up Triple H, but never mind, Triple H, okay, both men counted. That was confusing. But yeah, Cruiserweight action. Seth Rollins, of course, your Cruiserweight champion. He did defeat the returning John Cena in your last episode of SmackDown. Pretty good matchup. And Rollins, he super kicked Cena to, like, I don't know. He super kicked him into oblivion, like into nothingness, because so many super kicks in that matchup. Rollins ultimately did win the matchup against John Cena as well, and so we shall see how Cena fares off against Dolph Ziggler next week in the main event of SmackDown. As Ziggler, at this point, he's still going to challenge Aleister Black for the World Heavyweight Championship in a rematch, because he does still have his rematch clause. He lost once to Aleister Black. Shall see if he loses twice, but don't forget about that triple threat in the beginning of Viewers Mode back in Week 6 at the No Surrender pay-per-view. The triple threat between Aleister Black, Dolph Ziggler, and Ryback for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship, where Black, he did make Ziggler tap out to a half-leg crab, but that, I'm not sure if that counted or not, but now Ziggler actually gets his rematch clause. But he also did defeat Ryback in the number 1 contenders match back in Week 8 as well, which was another one of Ziggler's and Ryback's great matches here on Numerous Mode. They've had a whole lot of them. And by a whole lot, I mean like 3 or 4, including the triple threat, which counts as 4, to be fair. So yeah, it's been pretty good for Ziggler. Had a whole lot of victories, had a whole lot of losses here in Numerous Mode. It's been having some decent rivalries with both Ryback, Kevin Owens. A short one with Kevin Owens, as Owens did get injured by Aleister Black. The original plans were a failed foray at the No Surrender pay-per-view back in Week 6. That didn't happen though. Now, let's just say, Matt Jackson keeping Triple H very much grounded here in this matchup. Make sure Triple H does not even walk back to the ring. He's on the count 6 the game. Struggling to get back to his feet, but now he's actually back on his feet. Commentator's curse. I swear, I hate it so much. Now, Nick taking down Michaels, and oh man, Nick Jackson catches Triple H, sends him to the outside. There you go, Cerebral Assassin. Nick Jackson now with the armbar. On to Triple H. Shawn Michaels can perhaps help out his tag team partner. Yes, he does. Breaks it up on the outside. Misses the super kick. Misses the switch and music. Almost takes down Triple H in the process. Matt Jackson did take out both Triple H and Michaels. And now Matt has him up. Meltzer driver right to Shawn Michaels on the outside on that very thin layer of padding. Has Triple H now upper hand on Nick Jackson. Matt Jackson all the way around, as he is now actually destroying Shawn Michaels, and Matt catches Triple H. Young Bucks just absolutely making Triple H's life a living hell here, because they're struggling. I mean, Triple H is struggling. Triple H delivers a power driver of his own to Nick Jackson. Nick on count 7, he makes back to the ring. Triple H on count 6 slowly walks back to the ring himself, and now takes down Nick Jackson with that body slam into a knee drop. Nicely done. Now Matt Jackson was about to break it up, but didn't have to. Nick Jackson kicked out at 2. And super kick, never mind. Sort of nailed the super kick to back the head to Triple H to Nick Jackson off the nice distraction from Matt. And Triple H now upper hand here, taking down Nick with these powerful strikes, but never mind, Nick taking down Triple H. And Michaels caused another distraction, just a simple punch right to the face of Nick. Nick bringing Michaels into the ring, not sure how wise that was. Michaels can respectively probably get back into his corner. Nick, he's actually beating up both Michaels and Triple H here by himself, never mind. Numbers game, too much right there. Triple H with the DT, and can that be it? And that is actually it. Triple H gets the ultimate revenge here tonight. Man, the Young Bucks not giving Triple H an easy life here in this matchup, but now let's say Triple H picked up a victory. DX are SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Although it was non-title action, still had an impressive performance. Now let's just say, of course, like we said earlier, Mr. Money Bank Jay Lethal, he shall be in action, and it shall happen next week on week 17 of SmackDown, where we shall also have a King of the Ring tournament winner crowned in our Raw, East, or SmackDown. Imagine if it was SmackDown, because then we'll have the Money in the Bank winner. We used to have the NXT champion as well, but now the NXT has their own brand, and also include the Mr. Money in the Bank King Ring tournament winner as well. So that'll be very interesting as well if SmackDown's able to pull all that off. But anyway, moving on. Tag team action. Well, there's going to be a little bit of hype up for the King of the Ring SmackDown side of things in the King of the Ring SmackDown tournament. As we got Cesaro, Guerrero, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura representing SmackDown. Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura team up here tonight to take on the team of Guerrero and Samoa Joe. I guess where it gets the pinfall victory really has the more momentum heading into the King of the Ring tournament for SmackDown's side. It would have been more accurate if we did a fail 4-way here. But no, just to do a tag team matchup. Although I just realized it would have been way better if I actually did a fail 4-way. I actually want to not put this clip into a veil, delete this part of the clip, and actually do a fail 4-way. But no, not going to do that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, SmackDown action here, and tag team action specifically, rolls on here on SmackDown week 16. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. You guys are watching SmackDown, the Week 16 edition, as we now continue here in tag team action. The amazing strength of Cesaro as we're near the end of this matchup, because this matchup literally is taking forever. And then Guerrero on the verge getting counted out here. Cesaro lifting up the announcer's table with a Guerrero on top of it. Guerrero now, he's close getting counted out here on count 9, and there goes a Guerrero. There we go. I already knew that was going to happen, which I'm not so surprised. Moving on. 2-on-1 handicap type situation here for Samoa Joe as Cesaro. Nailing an extra elbow drop to a Guerrero to Cesaro. 2-on-1 handicap situation here for Samoa Joe as he's trying to survive this one now, because Guerrero no longer in this. As long as Samoa Joe is still on the outside of the ring, then it's not gonna work out all that well for Joe if he's still on the outside of the ring. Probably mostly. Okay, I'm yawning. Okay. Anyway, probably mostly because if he is still on the outside ring, well, which he's in the inside now, he's safe because he's isolated away from Cesaro. But if he's on the outside, then Cesaro, not being a legal man, could easily take advantage on the outside, since there's no disqualifications on the outside, but there are countouts, as we saw a couple moments ago with Guerrero. Boston Crab. Okada, the amazing leg strength of Okada sends Samoa Joe flying. Fun fact here, well, not really fun fact at all, but let's talk about Shinsuke Okada here. He hasn't been all that well in New Year's mode. Let's say Okada hasn't been the greatest of superstars here in New Year's mode. As see right there, that super kick moments ago by Samoa Joe sent him flying to the outside. Okada, he's having many opportunities. He's just been so close, but yet so far, to be fair. He's gotten a United States Championship number 1 contenders opportunity. He's gotten a Money in the Bank qualification opportunity, which was the closest, which was the most latest when he did lose to Ryback, which is why Ryback was in the Money in the Bank ladder match along with Cesaro, Samoa Joe, and Guerrero, and now Okada. And also, Okada did lose his referee matchup that he had for like 3 or 4 weeks against the Big Show a couple of weeks back, and Okada gets back inside the ring though, as he could have been counted out and will have been turned into a 1-1 matchup between Cesaro and Samoa Joe. But of course, remember, Cesaro and Samoa Joe, they actually really do have some real heat here in New Year's mode. Since the beginning of New Year's mode, they still do have some, but they don't renew it all that much. This tag team matchup is renewing it along with the Money in the Bank ladder match a couple of days ago, to a week or 2 now. That's renewing it as well, to be fair. And now Okada, suddenly getting kicked down by Samoa Joe, and Joe takes down Cesaro, but gets caught by Okada. That was amazing. Okay then. You know, just Okada, simple leg drop. Right to Samoa Joe, wearing him down, now the triangle choke. Triangle choke submission applied moments ago to Samoa Joe. And well, we just want to quickly get this one out the way. Near the end of the matchup, we're just going to have a quick 20 to 30 second video skip because video problems while recording this part of the matchup. And so, yeah, it's just going to skip it. And then by that time, you guys will already see the last few moments of the matchup. So, yeah, which is not too far from now. It's probably going to be in a minute or two. Literally. And right now, Samoa Joe, Cesaro, renewing their bad blood on the outside here. Cesaro has been very, very heelish in this matchup so far. It's been like isolating Samoa Joe on the outside of the South Headlock while Okada was inside the ring celebrating and stuff like that. So yeah, Okada, if he's able to get a pinfall victory here tonight, or submission, or if he's just able to get the pinfall, or the victory in general, that definitely elevates Okada's status here in Nearest Mode. Not to mention, it'll be one of his wins here in Nearest Mode as well. Cesaro causing the distraction. Now against Samoa Joe, hammerlock on the ring apron. This is just glitching out because it's not in space. Samoa Joe taking down Cesaro though, and Joe on dream streaks here. He gets sent back. Never mind, not gonna get sent back to the ring. And there goes Okada. Just strikes Joe off the ring apron. And now shoots Okada with the upper hand here. Never mind, Samoa Joe just simply slapping him across the face, knocks him out as well, which is very surprising. But then again, if it's a 400-pound man like Samoa Joe, or 300, I don't know, I could be exaggerating, I don't know, that slaps you, then you definitely will fall down to the ground. I wouldn't take anything against it, to be fair. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, now Okada, he's dazed, turns around into a very angry Samoa Joe. Now the ankle lock here by Joe, and the video has now skipped, and now we're about to go to the end of the matchup. Off the ropes goes Joe. Okada not going to do anything, actually, but takes him down with the lariat right to the back of the head shortly after. A couple of leg drops for a good measure to keep Joe down. Now the triangle choke applied onto the Samoan submission machine, and that gets the job done. Samoa Joe heavily isolated on the outside of the ring. Cesaro and Okada, nice teamwork in this matchup, and they pull off the win here. And now we could perhaps have Okada become the King of the Ring tournament winner. Or perhaps Cesaro, but Okada was the one who got the victory for the team right there. But definitely thanks to Cesaro. And main event of NXT, Episode 2. Mr. Perfect defenses NXT Championship once again against Chavo Guerrero. Chavo Guerrero using his rematch clause once again. He shall face off against Mr. Perfect for the NXT title once more. But this time in NXT Episode 2, as at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, Mr. Perfect's son, Curtis Axel, attacked Chavo Guerrero backstage, which led to a match never happening. Anyway, 6-man pinfall and submission battle royal. You can win this matchup. Well, you can only eliminate people by throwing them on top rope, pinning them, or making them tap out. Cruiserweight action here tonight. Number 1 contenders for the Cruiserweight Championship. Who wins this matchup faces off against Seth Rollins, who is, of course, their current Cruiserweight Champion, and last week defeated the returning John Cena. So Rollins definitely more of a star-studded superstar than what we all thought here in Nearest Mountain. Kota Ibushi, if he is to win, then we get a rivalry being renewed of bad blood between Ibushi and Rollins, as Hunter Guerrero, first one eliminated here in this matchup thanks to Ultimo Dragon. Hideo Itami, Kota Ibushi. Now Ibushi surprisingly not going to let Itami get eliminated. Perhaps could have struck him out. Hit him with a strike on the outside. And now Rey, simple punch to Hideo Itami. And now Rey Mysterio going to try to answer back with a dropkick. And Hideo is out of this matchup. Final 4 already. Man, this is going by quick. So far, no pinfall eliminations, no submission type eliminations either. Rey Mysterio, Kota Ibushi, Ultimate Dragon, Billy Kidman. Final 4 in this matchup. Hunter Guerrero and Hideo Itami already been eliminated. United States Champion Austin Aries and World Heavyweight Champion Aleister Black and Guerrero do count as cruiserweights here. So they could have also been here, but of course, one's the United States Champion, the other one is about to go inside the King of the Ring tournament, and the other one's the World Heavyweight Champion. But they're all cruiserweight type ranks. Of course, now Ibushi. In the final 3 here, can Kota Ibushi win this matchup, be able to face off against his old rival Seth Rollins, try to get the last laugh as necessary. He got the last laugh in their last rivalry matchup, but in the Cruiserweight title tournament, the 8-man vacant Cruiserweight title tournament, he did get eliminated by Rollins in the semifinals as well. There we go, because Kota Ibushi now eliminated, and now Ray has Big Kidman up, and there goes Big Kidman. Of course, Kidman and Ray teamed up not too long ago in the previous episode of Superstars, in the SmackDown main event side of things of Superstars, against Gallows and Anderson of the club. And Ray, he is actually finally number one contender. He had a number one contender's opportunity for Cruiserweight title a couple weeks back. Lost it to Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne lost the matchup at Bound for Glory to Seth Rollins. And then Pete Dunne's now in NXT because that was planned all along. Just to push him, make Rollins beat him, and now push Pete Dunne over on NXT. But Pete Dunne previously attacked Zack Sabre Jr. in the first ever episode, the debut episode of NXT, so we shall see what happens there. Who's going to be the ultimate jobber of SmackDown? And it's Kurzac, so Jinder Mahal defeats him in the opening show of Velocity in this Velocity report. Now, which one's going to be the ultimate jobber tag team of the SmackDown roster? Will it be either R-Truth and Goldust, or will it be these two, Rhino and Slayer? Whichever team loses becomes the ultimate jobber. The ultimate jobber of SmackDown was already Kurzac, so, but if he actually did defeat Jinder Mahal, and if Mahal lost, well then, Jinder Mahal will become the ultimate jobber, I guess. As I'm trying to itch my throat. I'm going to try and do it with my tongue. Okay, anyway. Shall we see who wins this matchup here? Ultimate Jobber Tag Team will be Truth and Goldust. Yay, I like Rhino and Slater more for tag team. Anyway, so that's a good thing. Truth and Goldust, they're the Ultimate SmackDown Jobber Tag Team. Yay. Cool, I like it. And well, ladies and gentlemen, on main event time for U.S. Championship. Of course, the main event of Raw, always the United States, well, not, I mean, the WWE Championship Open Challenge, non-title Open Challenge, of course. Edge Styles, he started this back in week 12 to showcase to have him in a matchup every week and to show that he's a fighting champion. The only one to actually defeat him was CM Punk in week 13. Not less than that, Styles has faced off against many opponents, including current X Division champion of Raw, Ricochet, the most dangerous man alive in the world, Ken Shamrock, Bobby Lashley, a whole lot more other superstars as well. And well, we shall see who answers this challenge in your next episode of Raw. Now it's to say, main event time, U.S. Championship Swagger, Aries, and it is right now. Here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, get hyped. It's Aries, it's Swagger. It's the United States Championship rematch. Austin Aries, after 10 weeks of trying to become the United States Champion, finally actually wins against Jack Swagger. Wasn't able to do it against Hiroshi Tanahashi when Tanahashi had the championship, but now, the whole thing happened. You guys would just have to catch up in your mode or watch one of the previous episodes of SmackDown where I actually explained it, because I want to explain how long it's been taking Austin Aries to actually win this, and the order and timeline of all his matches, and how he always kept failing to win the U.S. Championship, and how he became number one contender, stuff like that. Anyway, Jack Swagger using his rematch clause here tonight. If Swagger loses this matchup, then he no longer has his rematch clause. He will no longer face off against Aries for the championship ever again until he climbs up the rankings once again or wins the number one contenders matchup. Now, just to say, Swagger had an impressive showing. Aries had an even better showing at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, like a week or two ago. And now Swagger trying to go for something there. Aries off the ropes. He goes, misses the dropkick. Does Austin Aries, surprisingly. Greatest man that ever lived. Not doing too well, but he also turns with the bridge. Only a 1 count. Surprisingly for a double. Has him up. Snap suplex. Nicely done. Swagger getting back up. Another snap suplex. Getting up again. Here's Jack Swagger. No selling those first two. What's Aries doing here? Has him up. A third snap suplex. And Aries has him up again. A fourth. Aries taking him a snap suplex. Say into the pin. 1, 2. Only a 2 count. Swagger. Impressive showing to be able to kick out 4 of those. And now Aries' first 450 splash of the matchup. Here we go. And yes, he nails it. To the pin. 1, 2, and no. Only a 2 count for a double. And now off the ropes he goes. Never mind. Gets caught. Swagger had that one scouted. Had her Hurricanrana scouted. Perhaps as he was able to counter. And now Swagger has him. Simple kick. Now multiple strikes here. Right across the whole chest, arm, and face area, the upper area of Austin Aries. Aries trying to fight back a little bit, but Swagger outmatched him in the striking game here. Swagger, of course, a very high experience in amateur wrestling. Pull off a whole sort amazing maneuvers of chain grappling. He does that very well. That's not better than at least Austin Aries can, perhaps. Austin Aries better at high flat and a technical wrestling style. Swagger could also pull off a whole lot of great technical moves himself, perhaps, but mostly chain wrestling and mostly a whole lot of suplex variations. But so can Aries, as we did see a whole lot of snap suplexes on this matchup. Hurricanrana finally nailed to Swagger. Aries finally does it, actually, and only a 2 count for Austin Aries. The discus forearm to Swagger has him nails the Bulldog. Swagger in the center of the ring, another 450 splash, and never mind. Well, yes, really, but head-to-head contact, brutal for Swagger. Aries, well, he's gonna shake it off the DT, the leaping DT until a pin 1-2, only a 2 count. Surprisingly, Swagger's head got demolished by Aries' own skull as well. Nails the leaping DT again, does a double. Now Austin Aries wearing him down, slowing down the pace of his matchup. This match has been going on in a very fast-paced type manner. Now that Swagger's busted open just a little bit more, and well, he gets caught by Austin Aries. Aries saw that one coming. Baby suplex delivered, like I said. Swagger great at amateur wrestling, but Aries could pull off some awesome suplex variations of himself as the baby suplex. But the double hook suplex by Swagger telling him, I could outmatch you in this game. In this amateur wrestling type game, of course, that Swagger is bringing up, and nails the leaping DT to a double. The greatest man to ever live, and perhaps the greatest United States champion to ever live in Austin Aries, as Aries gets sent onto the steel steps slightly, just a little bit, but enough to put some damage to Aries, and now Swagger takes him down with the plancha. Aries falling onto the steel steps. Swagger gets up here, nails the clothesline right to a double, and Austin Aries not going to sell it. It's like, screw that, I'm not going to sell your move. Nails the body slam. Moonsault shortly after. And now Aries, just slowly waiting for him, has him up Hurricanrana into a pin. Only a 1 count. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's only great wrestling action you can only see here on the SmackDown roster, where we have the best and most talented division of tag team, cruiserweights, women, and your whole main event and mid-card division look here. And the mid-card division being showcased by these two men, Jack Swagger and Austin Aries. And ladies and gentlemen, SmackDown action here in SmackDown. Main event, Week 16 of SmackDown. It rolls on here. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SmackDown action. SmackDown Week 16, and Aries snap suplex to Jack Swagger. Another one. Here we go. A third. Every time Swagger gets back up, he's just going to be given one of these. A fourth one in a row. Until that's 8 in this match. 4 in a row in 2 sets by Aries. And then 450 splash to top of all things. And now, missed the moonsault. Opening for former United States Champion Jack Swagger. Never mind. That tornado DT is going to ruin everything for Swagger at this point. Swagger busted open. Aries smells blood in the water. And now Austin Aries. Last chance reapplied. Although this is not the last chance because it's not in the game. But just pretend because it looks the most realistic to it. So just pretend it is. Just bear with me, guys. Spin punch the discus forearm once again. His bread and butter. And nails the dropkick to Swagger. And Aries waiting for Swagger to get back up here. Swagger stumbling down across the feet of Austin Aries. Greatest man ever lived. A double. Has Swagger right where he wants him at this point. And well, nice close line by Swagger. Trying to fight back here in this matchup. And well, discus forearm again. Swagger struggling to get back up. Aries trying to set up for multiple of these. Perhaps to go into his finisher, the Brainbuster, shortly after. Waiting for Aries. And well, waiting for Swagger, I should say. That one was right to back to head. One more, perhaps, looking for it. Swagger stumbles down, so Aries misses automatically, surprisingly. And Aries delivers it right across the forehead. Swagger gets sent flying, and Swagger's busted open even more. Another discus forearm to Jack Swagger. And Aries, brain buster. That's it. Good night. Still United States Champion Austin Aries, never mind. Swagger kicks out. Well, Swagger has a rope break. Aries not too happy about that. Another brainbuster. Delivered to Swagger. Aries crossed Swagger this time. Second time's the charm. There we go. The first one most likely could have been it. Swagger just was at the right moment at the right time. Right place at the right time. Aries, now let's say second time's the charm for Austin Aries. Still United States Champion A double. And the greatest man ever lived. Austin Aries. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching this episode of SmackDown. This was Week 16. I know I'm too lazy because tomorrow I'll have to do another episode of Raw. because it's been 6 days since we did Raw. So yeah, I'll have to try and catch up on that. Try to do a whole lot more things because I want to do at least 2 episodes of a certain brand in 1 week, so we could quickly go by and quickly get into pay-per-views more quicker. But yeah, now to say thank you all for watching this episode of Universe Mode. Catch you on the next one, and goodbye.